Do you get sick of me?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you were like, don't do that in front of other people. Like that made me look foolish. And I was like, oh, I was just like making fun of you because I do that to all my friends. And you're like, please don't ever do that.
I'm just realizing now that even though I had the doubt, I chose to say and speak excitement and speak positive.
Well, hey, everybody, and welcome back to episode 3 of the Help Me See podcast, where we are just helping to see possibility, and where if we just believe if you change what you believe, you could change what's possible. And we want to actually challenge limiting belief systems, see possibility, and push past the familiar. And that's kind of what this community is all about, what we're trying to build and invite people into. And so today I'm really excited because I have my wife as my third guest. And I'm really excited about that because when we started this, I had the top 3 in mind that I wanted, and I needed you to be in there because you're my top 3 people. And so.
Do you think he has to say that?
Yeah.
He has to say that I'm his top 3. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I do believe it. I do actually believe it's true.
I'm just kidding.
So today I want to talk about marriage. And I love this because I sent you all these questions, and we were just talking about off camera how you were like, I don't want to look at those. I just want to wing it. So
I'm terrible.
I don't know why I sent you the questions, but we're going to talk about a bunch of things. And I'm excited today because we have a bunch of people online who actually wrote in as well. So we're going to answer some of those questions, some rapid fire, and try to do our best to spill the tea, talk about all the things that, I don't know, people might want to know about. So
yeah,
it'll be good.
I guess, the point is to help people see. And you're really good at that. So, and we've learned from each other along the way.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can help someone else.
I love that. Okay. I want to talk about maybe our philosophy of kind of how we've approached marriage to begin with, because I think for you and me, one of the things that we've really tried to lean into was just optimism around marriage. Doesn't have to be this drag of a thing. It could be like something you choose to really love and enjoy and be, it's not this thing that you just got to kind of struggle through all the time. And even though it is hard, it doesn't have to be a struggle. So maybe speak to that for a minute around just what has that been like for you? And maybe the better question is, what's it been like to be married to me? Maybe that's a good place to start.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I don't think anyone goes into marriage and is like, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
That's, I think we all go into it with hope.
Yeah.
And excitement. And then somewhere along the way, we lose that,
right?
I suppose. But I don't know. I'm a pretty optimistic person. So that kind of comes naturally to me a little bit.
Right.
So when you said that question, I thought, how have you become more positive and optimistic in our relationship?
Yeah. I think for me, probably a lot of it's due to you. Like, I think some of it we chose together. We were going to choose to be optimistic about this, choose to see it as a gift, not a curse, I guess.
Why would you think of it as a curse? Or why would we think of it like?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was my question was like, what is it about it that feels like it's always such a struggle for some people?
Okay, so one thing I guess that comes to mind right away when you're saying that, because not everyone might think that, but one thing we heard, or maybe you've heard, is that the first year is going to be so hard.
Right.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Is it? Why? Like, why does it have to be so hard? And I can understand that you're getting used to someone living in each other's space. Just that whole new dynamic.
Yeah.
But we kind of made it through the first year. We're like, that was great.
Yeah.
Why? So then I think that we just started challenging everything else after that. Yeah. Pretty much. Because people would say that, and I'd say, no, if we were, let's say, in a space and a bunch of people were talking about first 5 years of marriage or something, and they would talk about how hard it is, we had the opposite, perspective on it, and we were able to say, like, actually, it was pretty good. Yeah. Like, not perfect, but we've been having a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we talked about too was, it's like what you believe is actually what's true. So if you believe it's going to be hard and struggle, then that's all you'll see. But if you choose to see, like, actually, this is special, this is a gift, like, what a privilege it is to be married to you. Not necessarily me. But I, choosing to believe that about the other person, I think that is actually a pretty good starting spot.
And it's easy to lose.
Yeah.
It's really, yeah.
Okay, so before we get, let's go there. What do you think, why do you think people lose it? What is it that makes you lose that belief? Is it just life? Is it just
I think hardships of life.
Yeah.
And I think, we were 21.
Yeah.
So if I think about.
Were we just naive, I
don't think naive is I think when you're younger, you're still thinking about yourself a lot.
Right.
So I don't think naive is the right word. It's just that you haven't maybe learnt to think about someone else more than yourself.
Right.
Because you're by yourself. All you have to think about is what you want.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to eat next? What are my next plans?
Right.
So you invite a person into that, and all of a sudden, whoa,
yeah,
I didn't want to eat that.
Right.
I didn't want to go there.
Yeah.
You made me feel a certain way, you know?
Right.
And so you can start blaming the other person by, Yeah, just blaming and not liking the trajectory of your life maybe.
Right.
But yeah, I think it comes down to just knowing that you're two people now, and you're having to, we use the word surrender a lot.
Yes.
Having to let go of some things that maybe were really important to you, or just important to you for a season.
Yeah.
And then now.
And bringing those things into the light too. I think sometimes you have a lot of things that you don't always know how to express. I think in the beginning for me, we talked a lot about my emotions were like a deep well. It took a long, you were very patient with me getting those things out. But to actually express right now I feel frustrated. Right now I feel like you're not actually hearing me right now, whatever it was. I think sometimes in the beginning it was a lot of just articulating hey, this is what I'm.
Yeah, and it could take days before to get over an argument or something we didn't see eye to eye on, or or it could be anything, like how we treated each other in front of someone.
Right. Yeah, there was these new dynamics of because I remember in the beginning we used to talk about, there's a couple times I would kind of, my sense of humor or my love language was to tease you or whatever. But I did that in a way in front of other people that really bothered you. I remember you saying I
forgot about that, but.
Yeah, you were don't do that in front of other people. That made me look foolish. And I was oh, I was just making fun of you because I do that to all my friends. And you're please don't ever do that.
I'm not one of your friends.
Okay, what's going on? What's going on Instagram? I'm not one of your friends. How do you win in marriage and ministry? By not being friends.
I'm your best friend. I'm not just one of your friends.
Yeah.
But no, I think for me, I always wanted a relationship, a marriage that we would highlight the best in each other.
Yes.
Publicly, but also closed doors too.
Mm-hmm.
That, it wasn't we were giving digs to each other. I didn't like that.
Right.
And, but I understand. I mean, I see it even in our boys who just love joking around, fooling around. I know it's a boy thing now, a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe wrong, but I see it in them too. So,
yes, land of the boys.
But I grew up
but you're not a boy.
Well, and I grew up with two sisters. So I was and sarcasm was never a thing in our home either. So I was I don't like how this makes me feel.
Yeah.
But you were pretty sarcastic for a long time.
True. It's true.
And still can be, but
a
little less with me.
Okay, I want to ask
and
you.
that's very kind of you to even, and we can stick to our guns and be no, that's how I am. I'm a sarcastic guy and I love having fun. I remember you would say that too. I'm just having fun. I'm having fun. Get on board with that.
Yep.
And then I guess I wasn't getting on board with that. No. So at some point we have to understand each other and what's the. Yeah. Well,
at the core, I could lean into that and just say, well, it's who I am, but it was actually not what made you feel loved. And what at the core, that's what I wanted you to feel cared for and appreciated and seen. And that was not helping that So I had to learn kind of a new way, I guess, to kind of communicate, express myself.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask you, for all those that are listening, what's it really like to be married to me? Like, what's
I'm looking at Nico.
Like, what's that actually like? Because like that's got to be something. Like, I don't know. You know?
I mean, we're both actually very driven people.
Yeah.
And we both like to go for it.
Right.
So we just do it in different ways. So I do know that you work very hard.
Yes. Sometimes too hard, probably.
You're very focused on your work.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk about work, Justin.
Yeah, work, Justin. Just stick to the program. Like, don't throw in too much heart in the conversation.
Emotions at work.
Emotion, yeah. You don't like to get emotional
at work.
At work, no.
Which is weird.
Because
so I'm a heart guy.
You're a heart guy.
Yeah.
Like, healing is one of your
Yes.
You have a healing frequency.
You're right.
As we've learned from Erwin McManus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's very interesting because I would see heart, Justin, when you're preaching.
Yeah.
When you're speaking to me at home, when you're speaking to the boys.
Yeah.
I can see that heart frequency, and then we get into a meeting, a creative team meeting, and you're like, Commander, Challenger, Justin. I'm like, all right.
I think I've worked on that a little bit, but
also I've just I've learned to be okay with that.
Right.
Being like, okay, this is work, Justin, and he's got to be a certain way to get the task done.
Yeah.
And you do get a lot of tasks done.
Right.
So that is
emotions are slow.
Amazing.
Tasks are fast.
Yeah.
But I get it. I'm learning too. It's not just task, people as well. I'm learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
And and you've taught me that task is important too, not just fun.
Nice.
It's not just all about having fun.
So work, Justin, is something, and everything else. What else is it like?
I mean, the joke is like, oh, Justin can't do anything wrong, or like he can do everything. He can get it done.
Oh, like
anything that you put your mind to.
Oh, putting his mind to it. Right.
Yeah. But it's like, oh, of course Justin could do that. Oh, of course he did that.
Right. Which that makes me uncomfortable, that one, because I'm like, I don't feel like that's true.
Well,
but
I think you need to get over it. But because it's true. Like, even just coming up with this beautiful set.
Oh, we love this set.
Yeah. I think just embracing that.
Yeah.
Is important too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is kind of the heartbeat of this.
And not just at work and not just here at church, but I'm at home too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just the projects you've completed at home for me.
Yay.
So I've benefited from your ability to to do almost anything you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
Your mind to. And I think that's what inspires a lot of people, actually. It's like, how did he do that? And you're like, well, I just YouTubed it.
Pretty much.
Just figured it out.
Yeah.
And
the moral of the story is you can YouTube pretty much anything. And you start there.
The moral of the story is that you don't let anything get in your way to that. Yeah. Any limiting factor.
Right.
You're like, did you just say I can't do that?
Yes.
Did he?
Yeah. If you want to motivate me, tell me I can't do it.
We're both motivated
and
that way.
And I will tell you, I can absolutely do it. We will find a way.
Yeah.
Which is, it has its pros and cons, but one of the pros I do think is we've also fought to like, just this thing of marriage, it's got, like, it can be great. It's got to be great. And it really matters because a lot of people need to be able to believe it could be great too.
I think there's more voices that say it's hard.
Yeah.
It's,
I'm over that.
Yeah.
I'm over it. Yeah. I'm over it, people.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We just need to. I think I just wasn't okay with that. That's draining, like negativity. Like that for me is just.
It doesn't mean that like it's been perfect, because we even this month we've had ebbs and flows of things that are like, okay, like you can be drained within a couple days, and to go like, we need to talk about this. We got to fix this. This is out of like right now our Christmas tree is still up, and it's reflective of our life a little bit.
Yeah.
But also we're having a lot of fun. We're going snowboarding. So it's like you can have fun.
We're also tired.
Fun Mel, or like tear down the Christmas tree Mel. And you're always going to choose Fun Mel. That's who you are.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about ministry as well, because I do want to get to these questions, because I have a whole bunch of questions here for you. But I want to talk about our unique dynamic. I also have one more question for you too. Favorite memory. I want you to think about over the last 20 years.
Favorite memory?
Yeah, just keep it in the back of your mind. Favorite memory, 20 years. Okay.
I don't like favorite stuff. But
it's funny, Nico and I were actually talking about this before. I was like, I don't have a favorite. Like all the things.
I can list many of them. Yeah. But I don't have one favorite.
I know.
Oh, do I? But
would it be a trip? Would it be
100% a trip?
Okay. So it's always a trip.
100% a trip memory.
Would it be Australia?
No.
Italy?
Oh, I don't know.
Greece?
I think when I think of a favorite memory, I think of connection by doing something new.
Okay, I have a favorite memory.
Oh.
I was thinking about this.
Clearly.
But it was around connection. It was actually when my mom died and we went to Australia the same year. It was 2008.
Yeah.
And we were there actually with your sister and we were at Hillsong. And they played this song that I forget the name of it. It was about no crying, no tears. It was you see me now. You'd have to look it up. Anyways, it was about heaven. It was a song about heaven.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my gosh, the Spirit of God just hit my soul. And then we met this guy in the lobby
with no
shoes. And he spoke specifically into us.
God was very kind to you and to us on that trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that journey of healing beginning there. And that was and it was so cool because we'd always wanted to go to Australia and all the fun stuff we did. But I remember deeply feeling connected to God across the world in that moment. So that was a cool memory for me.
Yeah.
But
I love all the fun things that we do together.
Yeah.
I don't know. My most recent favorite is going snowboarding on Friday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's culminating.
Yes.
At this point. I'm like, do I have a favorite? 20 years.
Right.
We had a really good trip in October.
Yeah.
When we went to LA and then we hiked and
it was cool, I think, on multiple levels, because it was a God part that was really special. God unlocked creative in us again.
Yeah.
I feel like. And then it was also us connected, experiencing new things. I think there's something, probably the deeper thing beneath it is it's not I don't think we see it as a destination. Is we're trying to make it more of a this is just creating memories together all the time.
All the time.
But I like that. Okay, I want to talk about our dynamic in ministry, because I think that's been one that's been hard for some people to understand as we've worked with them, and then also hard to articulate what's unique about how we've approached ministry from the beginning. And I think when we met, I mean, the story, I'll tell it to everybody always, is I heard you before I saw you. So I had my back turned in the chapel and you were singing and I was like, this voice is unbelievable. I couldn't even believe it. And I turned around and I remember literally saying, I love Bible college. I said that out loud because I saw you on stage. The lights were shining behind you.
So
it was
dramatic.
It was so dramatic. The voice of an angel. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then you ignored me for 3 years and didn't talk to me. I think I had dreadlocks at the time. And then God did something in my life, kind of I had a cool season with him. And I think things started, we went to The Price is Right. And then you started finally. You
hooked me with some fun.
That's true.
That's what happened.
I convinced your friends to go to The Price is Right with Bob Barker.
Yeah.
I did talk to him. Do you remember that? I asked him a question.
Yep.
I asked him what, anyways, we don't have to go over that. Anyways, the point of the story was, what was the point of the story?
Ministry.
Ministry.
Just the start of ministry.
So yeah.
So I came to Bible college with a very focused, I also was looking for an adventure.
Yeah.
And growing up in Timmins, Ontario, small northern town. I was looking forward to going out west.
Yeah.
Something I had always wanted to do.
Yes.
But I was really focused. I knew God
It's true. You were on a mission.
Yeah. I was leading worship at a really small church when I was 15.
Yep.
And then I didn't hear a word the pastor had said and then God had downloaded to me that, hey, I want you to go to Bible college. So I went home that day. And it was very clear that I told my mom, I said, Mom, it's very clear now I need to go to Bible college. And so I think I went on a mission, this is what I meant to do. Let's have some fun while I do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was really focused. Maybe that's why I didn't notice you at first.
Yeah.
You
were just kind of la.
A jokester kind of.
Sarcastic.
You were having fun though. And that's usually something I like, but I don't know.
I wasn't taking it that seriously
Maybe.
though.
So.
Yeah. Okay. And then when we started, I remember there was a lot more, maybe at that time in history, there was a lot more, I guess, hardship around women in ministry. There wasn't a lot of precedent for strong women in ministry. There was a lot of precedent for like passive and nothing that's wrong with, being support, in a support role, but like to be a type A, two strong leaders together was a little bit of a like one or the other. It was always one had to take back seat to the other.
Yeah.
And I remember when we started, it being hard for people to understand what we were, because they would say things like, well, you don't have to. And you're like, what do you mean I don't have to? I am.
Invite me in.
Please invite me in. And you're like, there's no expectation for you. And they would talk to me.
Yeah.
And even maybe we would talk about coming to this church, funny enough, the church we're currently at, Central.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When we first came, they tried to bring us on for youth pastors and then missions. And then we came on as campus pastors. But anyways, that first interview, I remember there was a board member that asked a question and you started answering.
Mm-hmm.
And that board member said, I didn't ask you, I asked him.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you held it together. And then after we went to, I think it was like Kelsey's or something down the road. And I remember you just started crying because
I think it was a fight. And I say fight because I was fighting myself for who I knew I was, who I knew I was meant to be.
Yeah.
And so it felt like a fight.
Yeah.
With everyone else and like around me it's like they couldn't see.
They couldn't see.
I couldn't see.
Yeah. Now, and that board member is actually a good person. Like I know that person to this day.
I actually don't even remember who it was.
I won't say it because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But
I
don't even remember. Like it didn't.
It was just they couldn't see us together. They saw this was just one person, and it's nice you're here, but like they didn't understand that what we do is actually is a team in ministry.
And that's almost okay. Like back then, it's okay because they didn't know us.
Yeah.
And so
that's
as
true.
you start, that's my perspective now. But when I was in that fighting, or I felt like I was fighting or finding my way or plowing through, I say fighting, but I mean like plowing away.
Yeah.
So it feels like hard work. So I guess maybe that's why I'm saying fighting. But yeah, it just felt harder and things were coming a lot easier for you.
Me, as a male.
And it's funny, at the time, I didn't even need the money.
Yeah.
I didn't, because I knew I couldn't even see how could a church have space for both of us.
Yeah.
So
but you just wanted a seat at the table.
Yeah. I just wanted to lead.
Yeah.
I wanted to help. I wanted to serve.
You don't have to pay me. Just let me see
I
me.
wanted to use what I knew I had at the time to offer.
Yep.
And it was hard to get there.
Right. But I remember deciding really early that we were or that at least I was going to fight everywhere we went, that there would always be a seat at the table for you.
I think you knew too, and we talked about it, that if I could die a little bit and, die on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens to someone, when they can't be fully alive, and that changes a person.
Yep.
And so even to go back to like the original question, if you can't fight for each other's aliveness, then things can really start going south, and it can be really hard. And we did have those hard times because I was also
fighting for myself to grow as a leader. I was brand new.
Yeah. And there's only so much fighting you could do.
Yes.
And I knew that, but but you did a couple things that have always meant so much to me. One of them was because I was part-time at the time in the church, I couldn't get my credentials as fast as you because they had hired you full-time.
Yeah.
You were full-time, I was part-time. And so I forget the amount.
It was like double the time.
It was double the time that I could get my credentials. And so I was really sad about that. I was just like, I'm working, like, I know I'm not being paid.
Doing the same things.
I felt like we were doing it together. We've always been a team like that. And so that was really sad for me. And I do remember you just saying, well, then I'll wait. I'm like, I don't need to get those credentials now.
Yeah.
So you waited double the time.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I made a statement about that too. And I was like, I waited because you said she didn't qualify. So then,
maybe that's important too, because there needed to be change in that way. Just, but
that meant a lot to you.
Oh, in terms of our marriage, that spoke that you would fight for me and that that you would wait for me.
Yeah.
That meant a lot.
Yeah.
And you've done that a couple times since, for sure. But
And now look at you. You're the best worship leader and pastor across our nation.
He has to say that.
Leading an incredible team. People see you every week and you're just hands and heart. I think that's what's actually so cool about you is not only are you incredibly physically gifted as a vocalist and when you've had to perform, and I know it's not what you do is perform, but as somebody who executes something, you have your hands are incredibly gifted, but then what actually I think people don't get to appreciate is what makes it so exaggeratedly good is that your heart is in equal proportion to your hands. And I think that's the gift, what makes you one of the best worship leaders that I know and that I've seen is that you have both of those things. That it's not I feel like a lot of people, it's like kind of one or the other, like, or they really lean in on, like, they're really talented, but then it just feels showy. It's like you're the opposite. You're all of it in one, and you've somehow refined that in yourself, which I think is incredible. But I don't know why I'm even saying that. I just thought of that. But I love that. I love that about you.
Thank you. I think you can say that because you know me.
Yeah.
And I want to even challenge that idea that maybe it might seem like that for others. Like you're saying, it seems a certain way.
It could seem easy. I know you've worked really hard at it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've worked really hard at your heart and also hard at your, because you weren't always actually very good at expressing yourself in your heart in the early days.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that about yourself. But when I look back at videos of myself, I'm like, whoa, she is trapped. Like she doesn't know how to express herself or she's afraid to.
How did you learn
Which is crazy because now I'll just.
Yeah, you talk about everything now.
I'll say anything.
How did you learn to let that out?
I don't know. Yourself? Probably trust.
Yeah.
Within our relationship. I think when trust is built, you become more free and open.
Yeah.
I would think that's just gaining a voice over time, gaining confidence in myself. That's a gift. Growing older, that is really powerful. And but gaining confidence in that too.
Right.
And
that's cool.
Yeah.
These are good thoughts. Okay. I want to talk about some of the challenges. And I went to the internet and some of you chimed in. Actually, it appears as though the internet is very interested in our marriage. I don't know why, but there was actually a lot of questions. So
because you asked them. You said,
I did.
Hey.
I did. I didn't expect anybody to really answer.
Okay, that's more that you're like, people
were curious. Okay, so here's some of the questions that came in for maybe some of the harder things. Question number 1, working together in ministry and living together at home. How do you not get sick of each other when you're together 24/7?
Ange and I actually talked about this yesterday. Ange Mercer and I had lunch yesterday.
Hi, Ange. Hi, Ange, wherever you are.
And I was saying to her, like, oh man, it's so cool to watch you,
Yeah.
a few years ahead. Your kids are gone.
Yeah.
You're having a great time with Blair still, your spouse.
Yes.
And she's like, it really matters that you like them. And I said, oh, well, we're going to be fine then because we like each other. Yeah. We actually have a lot of fun together.
Do you get sick of me?
Yeah. Sometimes. I mean.
What?
I really look forward to Friday, Justin.
Okay. Not work, Justin. So not work, Justin. Not
like, oh, Monday's here.
Oh goodness. Monday. The list. Oh yeah, I got a list Monday.
Justin gets in his tunnel vision mode Monday through Thursday.
It's hard.
And so I really look, but
and we risk roommate status. Is that I think that's probably it.
Monday through Thursday.
Yeah. So Friday.
So if we don't make that turn every Friday,
so Justin's got to turn up on Friday.
I'm usually crying on the couch, to be honest, like in our coffee, and you're like, "What's wrong?"
You're like "You're not here."
I just don't feel connected. And if you're in a good space, you usually then comfort and like, well, let's do something fun. Let's have lunch. Let's go. But if you're in a drained space, then you could be like, then you can take it
right. Take it personally.
Take it personally.
You're like, all I need is breakfast and love. Take me for Eggs Benedict, please.
It's so funny because I am pretty simple in that way.
Do you want to speak about your love of Eggs Benedict?
Can I say that I was hoping you were going to make it for me on Valentine's Day?
On Valentine's? All right, internet, we'll see what happens.
But what's funny is that it's because I saw some today and I was like, oh, Friday, the kids are off school. Maybe I'm going to ask him.
All right.
That's the other thing. I like straight up ask you for the things I want. I don't like osmosis.
Most of the time. Most of the time. That's true.
Most of the time. I'll just say it.
Okay. Another question is how to survive ? How
to survive?
How to survive. I get this question, but I also challenge this question because I think it kind of assumes the worst.
I think it's hard for people if they start off.
I would rather ask how to thrive.
In a hard place, though.
How to survive. But I get it.
I just don't know where that
person's coming from.
Yeah. And if it's, how to survive, I think there was a point, actually, I felt like I was surviving with you. I don't remember the time. It could have been like all the years.
Yeah.
They flow into each other and I start forgetting.
We've had over 20 of them.
And I'm not one to journal a lot, especially about negative things, because I'm like, let's just move on from that. Yeah. It could have been after your mom died.
Okay. Yep.
Or just hard work stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was a season that I couldn't get you out of.
Yes, I was in a funk.
And I even remember writing you a letter like into the new year, like being we're going to start this year fresh. Like, that's it. We're getting out of this funk.
Yeah.
We're going to, and I remember you just didn't even care. And I had a hard time articulating some of my emotions. And so writing it out, that was early on in our marriage. So it must have been probably around, maybe 2008. But, and you kind of didn't.
I didn't change too quickly.
Yeah, it took a while still.
Yep.
And I just remember how hard it was and how draining it was for me.
Yeah.
To continue supporting you in that really dark season.
Yeah.
Yeah. But made it through.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Because for me, for my personality, that cycle of pain is feels like the end of the world.
Yeah.
And I've learned to understand it will come to an end.
Yeah.
But when I'm in my early 20s,
and
it just felt heavy and hard for a long time, even though it was maybe months, like 4 or 5 months. I don't know how long it was, but it felt like a long time.
And I feel like it used to take me a long time to break out of funks.
That's true.
And
you're trying to figure it out.
I was really trying to figure out the depths of what's happening in me and why am I so sad and why do I feel like I don't like anything or anyone. Yeah. And you could go dark. I could go real dark.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know if I want to do ministry work. Like so for me to realize there are lots of ebbs and flows to that. There are cycles of ministry every year. There's tired burnout. There's things that I have to do physically to keep myself.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot about myself, which I don't have too much time to get into, but I think, how do you survive? I think, I don't know. I think you have to learn to die to yourself. Like, there is a component of that you choose to love the other person for a long time. You choose. And then on the inverse is, I had to learn to die to myself a lot.
I think too, maybe, at least I'll just speak from a woman's perspective, a wife's perspective, just making sure you have good friends around you.
Right.
So that not everything you want or feel or expect is found in your spouse.
Right.
So
it's a good support system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have good friends, have mom friends, have,
That's great.
Yeah.
The other question was, why is she, referring to you, why is Mel so amazing?
That's not a question.
It is, actually. It was a question that came in.
Okay.
I have an answer. I actually wrote an answer. I said, because the things you put intention to have less tension. It sounded more profound when I thought it than when I just said it. But no, I thought that because you're intentional. Like, you're amazing because you put intention into friendship, to leadership, to marriage, to kids. You put intention to what you speak and how you lead. It's not just the task. Like, for you, it's everything has intention behind it. I think that's actually your gift to the world.
Mm-hmm. I'm not always good at that. Like, yes, I am, but I'm good in the moment to be intentional. So right now with you doing this, I'm going to give, my all. And then when I pick up the boys after in the car, I'm going to be intentional with them in that, in that car ride. And then, so it's like every moment like that. So then I do feel sometimes I'm like, oh shoot, I haven't reached out to, this friend or, so I can be hard on myself in that way.
Yeah.
But in the moments that I'm in, I will give my intention for sure. Yeah.
This is similar to actually one of the other questions, which was, how'd you get so awesome? Which I don't know what it's funny that it's an uncomfortable question for me, but we were listening to a podcast the other day. One of our guys we love Erwin McManus. He's such a great thinker. We love him so much. But he was talking actually about the echo chamber of your heart. And he was talking about avoiding extremes, actually, because there's two ways you can two ways of thought. You can either believe you're the best, or you can actually have an echo in your soul or your heart that you're the worst. And both of those actually lead to problems, because they're both actually prideful statements. That one is like, I am the worst, which is not true, and you have no way to grow. And the other is that you're the best, and then you also have no place to grow, and there's nowhere to. So I like the idea that we're loving, or that we are growing, that we are becoming, and as we choose to see, we're choosing to see more possibility, choosing to be more loving, choosing to be better parents. And I think it's like, it's not about assuming that identity. It's actually about choosing to say, I am growing, I'm becoming, I am loving, and I can be more of all of those things, and that's a healthy place. But
and we're in a healthy place right now because we've both chosen that. And so I guess it's hard maybe if one is choosing it and another one isn't. And there's been times we've both.
You're out of sync.
We're out of sync that way. So getting in sync feels so good. But it's hard because, and that's the thing, you go into marriage.
Right.
And there's no guarantee that the other person is going to continue choosing to grow. There's no guarantee. So I think for me that it scares me a little bit, but I'm praying through it for the boys. I think I'm just praying that they will find spouses who will continue to want to work at it, who will have like that grit and like just there's no option to not work on it. And work on themselves too, and figure it out. Because in your 20s, you're like, you're really figuring a lot out. And if you can get through that together.
I like that a lot though, the grit to grow. Like if you can do that, and not just one dimensionally.
Did I say that? Grit to grow.
Well, I just sort of summarized
Yeah, that
it.
was
Grit to
great.
grow. Because it's like
We're good. We're usually good like that.
Yeah, we riff a little bit here
I
and
have
there.
all these ideas and then you like just turn it into this. Yes.
Statement.
Yes.
Grit to grow.
That's good.
I like
Grit
that.
to grow.
You like that? You like that, Nico?
I'm like, wait,
All right,
did I
grit to
say
grow.
that? I didn't, but you turned it into that, and that's so good. Yeah.
But yeah, and not just one dimensionally, because you can have grit to grow in your career.
Yeah.
But you can really suck as a human, or to go like, actually, I want to be the best human I could be.
One thing we do a lot of that I didn't think was weird until
tell me about it.
My friend was like, "That is kind of weird that you do that."
Okay.
Is on our walks. Well, we're not walking right now because it's winter.
Ugh.
Shame on us. But
yes,
in the summer, in the spring, fall, when we take our walks, our 5-kilometer walks, I didn't realize that this was kind of weird, but we're constantly dreaming and we're constantly like changing. I forget. I don't know.
Oh yeah, things can change.
Someone
real
was
quick
like,
"Oh,
how was your day today?" I said, "Oh, went on a walk and
we decided we're not going here anymore."
Yeah. We changed our trip to this, or we've decided to use our money in this way now, and we've just
within 1 hour
totally changed, like something like pretty big, and we do that regularly. Like we're always wanting to change, and move forward and try something new, and
that is our Berkman.
Yeah,
99% change, and we're both.
Yeah, it's
we're both high change.
Yeah, so as leaders, though.
We have to slow down.
Well, I've learned that that we go too fast, and we need to slow down.
Slow down. Let people catch up.
Yeah. And that's not. Yeah. But just learn to slow. Not even about others.
Right.
It's more about just like slow down.
Yeah.
Just slow down.
Just chill.
Just chill a little bit.
Just chill a little bit. That's true. Well, because you can miss just being present, miss them all because you're always just okay. We're changing. What are we doing now? And
I mean that's part of who we are. That's a little bit of our marriage DNA for sure. But just recognizing that's might not be the best way to be all the time.
Yep. Okay, I got another question. What's the hardest thing you've walked through in marriage, and what got you to the other side? I wrote down a couple ideas.
Okay.
In the beginning, I don't know if you remember, actually, funny enough, I saw her on social today. Mel Deely was our...
I saw that too.
Was our pre-marriage counselor. Hi, Mel. You probably don't watch this, but she's awesome. At our college. Anyway, she did pre-marriage, and she talked about actually when we were starting a ministry, she's like, you have every stressor going into this new season. And if you don't talk about it, if you're not aware of it, if you don't communicate through it, it will sink you. It will hurt you. It was about communicating through, and it was the stress. The stressors were new marriage, new province, new church we got hired at. We'd never even gone to before, which was wild.
Never attended,
never even visited. So we just hired on the phone. New role, new house we were renting. It was like everything that could be
all new.
All new.
Yeah.
And I remember that was like a lot. Like it was a lot to like figure out what's this dynamic of we do ministry together, but I'm just brand new in ministry, and you're brand new, and lots of opinions, and figuring that out. That was it was a lot. I remember that. I remember it was a lot. It wasn't necessarily bad, but it was like that was hard. And so I think we just communicated a lot. We just tried to talk a lot about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
That didn't feel that hard to me.
Yeah. I remember feeling
but that's okay that it felt overwhelmed. Yeah.
It felt just overwhelming, I think, for me.
My things are usually have to do with people.
Yeah.
Hard things. So when your mom died, just being disconnected, maybe with family members, not having that, that relationship we might want with them.
Yeah.
You might want with them.
Yeah.
Those kind of things add to stress.
Yeah. We're also physically far from all of our families. So that was always like with young kids.
Yeah, with young kids.
It was like we were alone. We felt a lot.
Yeah, I have little memory. A few memories from 5 and under.
The hazy years of 5 and under.
When the kids,
Nico's in that world right now.
Yeah. No, but I only
I wrote that down too.
I only understood it later that that was a really tough season for me because I'm a driven person who doesn't like to live the same day every day.
So you're on repeat. You have no sleep.
I made it through because of Leah.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Yeah.
Because she would call me and be like, let's do this today. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Please
anything. Like, we were both in survival mode together. And that's literally what made us best friends, I think.
Yeah.
But that was a really hard time for me because I think for everyone, I don't know. Well, I didn't expect to say that, but at the time in ministry, I felt, whether this is true or not, I felt like people would think like, she's in her role. And I felt like I was not.
Right.
And I love being a mom, but those early years were really hard for me and didn't love staying at home.
Yeah.
Just wanted to create and do something new and learn something more.
Yeah.
But I mean, I realize now I learned a lot in that season.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like myself. So that's really hard. And I think that's happens to a lot of moms, a lot of women.
And the way through is strong support networks.
Strong support, understanding from my spouse.
Yeah.
Which really helped. You were a very hands-on dad. So I do see some dads who aren't as much.
Yeah. Not capable of.
No, they're capable. Like if we're going to, no. They're capable, but maybe someone hasn't.
To believe they couldn't do certain things.
Yeah.
Or,
they haven't seen yet.
Right.
So they need, another dad to see another dad that can do it as well. And and for me, it did help having you as a major support at that time.
Yeah. I do remember like a hazy season of like, I was like, oh, there's Mel. She's back now. It was all, I remember it being a bit hazy around. I was in survival mode. You were in your, up in here. Yeah. Up in the mind.
It's probably one of the harder ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the great thing is there's light on the other end and keep going. It's worth it.
Yep. And we supported each other through that. A lot of understanding.
Yep.
A lot of giving up.
Yeah.
Thank God you didn't need, and I don't know if that's changed, but you didn't need that much sleep, or it felt like you could go further without a lot of sleep then.
Sleep is like.
And so I need a lot of sleep, still do.
Yeah.
And so you were so amazing at helping in the middle of the night, even though you'd go to work the next day because you knew I was working at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Just a lot of support for each other over the years has made a big difference.
That's awesome. We're learning. I like that. Key confirmations you knew God wanted you to be together.
Walking down the aisle, I had both excitement and doubt at the same time.
Okay.
Straight up.
Is that why you didn't look at me?
I don't think so. Yeah, you always say that.
We always talk about
this.
I
think I was just like, what's happening? No. I was more like in shock, I think. Yeah. What is happening? And Justin always says, you never even looked at me going down the aisle.
I still remember that. You never looked at me. You didn't love me. Did you even love me?
I'm like, what's happening? But it's funny because even though I was thinking doubt or having doubt, but I was excited, I chose to say the excitement thing to my dad.
Right.
I said, I'm going to become a Driedger any minute now.
Oh, yeah.
So he always tells me.
He hated that. But
he reminds me of that all the time. But I'm just realizing now that even though I had the doubt, I chose to say and speak excitement and speak positive, and not like, oh, I don't know if he's the right one.
Right.
The right one.
I know.
Yeah.
It's funny because there's a part of this I reject because I think of the Bible, all these people who, somebody died, they married their brother, then they married their other brother, and they married their brother. So this idea of your person that I think it's a creative choice that God gives you. You get to choose somebody. And for the rest of your life, you get to decide if you're going to choose them or not. And like, if I die and, you know, we always laugh because you hate talking about death. But if I die, I've always said, like, just go marry someone. Like, that's great. Like, go find somebody, marry them, and like have a great life. You know, like be sad for a bit, sure, but then you know, just go like marry some guy that's awesome, and then get on with it. But like, there's this. I know it's a bit morbid, but I think it's like a creative choice. This is the gift that God gives us. And like, it's easy to get like, is this a sign? And yes, you need to follow signs. And yes, there are people that like, there's things you should look for that's probably not a good partner for you.
What are those things?
Well, I do think number one, God is like, the run-in with Jesus has been the biggest thing because at the core, I think what makes me the best man that I can be is the posture of Jesus. The more that I'm like him, the best version of myself I am to everyone around me. Leader, dad, husband. When I'm distant from God and I feel like I'm fighting him and I don't really want to go his way fully, I am not as good of a person. And like literally, I know that sounds Christian.
It's very true.
I know it sounds like.
When did you start reading your Bible again?
Recently.
No, but like October, November?
I started reading the full thing again for fun.
Full thing.
For fun.
Yeah.
Not for work.
Yeah.
Not for sermon prep. Not for anything. I bought a Bible, a physical one, an NLT for myself.
And other than that, like draining time around Christmas when we were away, like.
A little week there, 4 days.
Yeah. But I knew it was, you're just tired after Christmas stuff. But because that's made such a big difference. And I'm like, I don't want him to stop. He's got to keep reading his Bible. We're in such a good place. Now I'm reading mine too.
Yeah.
So it's not just you, but it makes such a difference.
That's like the number one. Then, because who I am, as in who I am in Christ, is like, oh man, it's such a better version. Like it's such a less rigid version. It's such a less striving and grasping for control version, and it's just a generous version of myself. And I want that. I want that self. You know, and I see it. Like I can see it around me when I am in that version of myself, and it's hard sometimes not to drift out of that because it's easy to sometimes take the easy way out and just, not sleep and just stay up late and not eat good and all the things that I know that make me drift. But
So what was the question again?
It was more about
just read it.
Key confirmations you knew God wanted you to be together.
Oh, confirmations. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't.
I mean, I intuitively there's things that I wanted in you. I knew you were opposite of my mom.
I had a list, didn't I? I had a list.
I like type A. I like adventure. I like dark features.
Yeah,
which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
I also wanted someone driven and talented.
Yeah,
which you were.
Those were the things on my list too. Driven, musical, so that we can connect on that way.
Yeah.
So connection is such a big thing for me that I wanted to connect on certain key things.
Let's talk about connection.
Yeah.
Because like.
We connect on a lot of things. A lot of,
Because I feel like that's, we talked again. Okay, go ahead.
When we were in Bible college, when we got together, most people were like, they are complete opposites. Yeah, it was Sega, like our one friend. She's like, oh, I can see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had one friend who was like,
she was the seer.
I had one friend who was like, actually, I cannot see what you're doing.
This is terrible.
They said, this is like the opposite of anything I ever saw for you.
But we're both driven and ambitious. And we connect very much on that, which is why on our walks, we change the whole world, like our whole world.
Yes. Yes.
1 hour, 1 day at a time. We're like, oh yeah.
Yes. Okay. Last question. Have you ever decided you wanted out?
Decide? What do you mean?
Out of our marriage.
Well, I never decided. That was a question?
Yeah.
Whoa. In that
Have either of you ever decided you wanted out?
Oh, decided. Well, no, because we're here.
Yeah.
So
we didn't decide.
We didn't decide. Have we ever thought about it? I think that's what the question's about.
Yeah.
Yep. I thought about, I've thought about in those dark times usually, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can't keep fighting about the same things.
Right.
Like I have told him this over and over again.
Right.
This is how I want to be loved, or this is what matters to me. Why do I have to repeat myself?
Yep.
For 20 years. And so,
how to make you feel loved.
No. But this, this is like dark times. This is,
right.
Again, I don't remember exactly, but
yeah,
those dark times, going through it and trying to see what it would look like without you.
Yep.
And I was like, no, he's going to get better, or no, I'm going to get better. And I'm like, I retract those thoughts and won't even allow it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've thought about it, but then I'm like, I'm just going to step back in my thought life and be like, nah, it's not going to be great. And I think the gift of being in ministry for this long and then walking with people and seeing how life has turned out for others who've decided no.
Yes.
It is not easier and not often. Sometimes it's better. But it's hard.
It's not a greener grass.
No. So I always keep that in mind. I'm like, no.
Check your narratives.
That's a lie. It's not going to be better.
Yeah. Check your narratives.
You know what's going to be better is if I choose to continue loving him.
Yeah.
If I surrender this about myself.
Yeah.
If I humble myself and say, I'm sorry, and then start a new conversation that's hopeful and good, better than the one we were on. And then all of a sudden, like within a minute, things have changed. And I'm like, wow, I went to a dark place.
Yeah. You can go fast.
And didn't need to.
Yeah.
Because it literally just took a sorry.
Yeah. I do respect the question because I get it. And I know when you're there, it's like hard not to see only, an exit sign. And I think for me, it's like I keep coming back to like and again, this is what it means to be in a healthy space with Jesus, that like, what did he do for me? And what he did was he literally laid down everything for me. He gave up everything. And actually, Brady and I were talking about this on our last podcast about that love requires everything. And if you can really embrace that like there is going to be season, like if you couldn't give me anything, I hope like our friend who is struggling with cancer right now in our church and in the last phase, right? And we saw a picture this week of him and his wife.
Yeah.
Even when you can't give me anything, I hope that I can still be the kind of man who chooses to just be there when you can't. There's nothing that you could give me. I feel like
that only happens if you practice it the rest of your life.
Yeah. So
like you get to that place.
Yeah. I think you have to get to that place on your own. That's a place with you and Jesus. And then you got to choose that. And then you got to be able to speak that out. Don't even speak out I'm thinking of leaving. It's, I'm choosing to love. I'm choosing to be here. I'm choosing to, lean in.
Yeah. Walk back the thoughts. Like start saying the good things.
That's good. Walk back the thoughts
that you see or have seen in the past if you can't see them now.
Yeah.
And then start praying for those things. Well,
if you feed those thoughts, I think you actually
that's the start.
You begin to you create those neural pathways that this is now a trench. You're digging your own grave.
Mm-hmm.
So reject the thoughts, walk back the thoughts.
Yeah.
And take on actually a transformed mind, the thoughts of the Christ, I love that. Okay. We're just about out of time. So I had several questions for you. Not several, a couple questions as we go. If you had one message for parents, what would it be?
Well, I think our message is doing it together.
Yeah.
Do it together. Be a support for each other.
Yep.
We always do it we want to do it in step with God.
Yep.
Like first. But I don't know, for me, it's, I guess, being intentional too.
Mm-hmm.
Be intentional with your spouse, be intentional with your time, be intentional with your kids. And maybe an example of that is to say the things you feel, good or bad. I think I have to really think about if I'm going to say something more on the negative side or a challenging comment, let's say something that maybe is bothering me about you.
Yep.
I have to really consider how my delivery is going to be.
Right.
Whereas if I'm saying something encouraging, that's just, I don't have to think too much about that.
Yeah.
But with a challenging comment, I do think about it a lot longer. Like, wait, how can I say that so it's not going to sound like I'm pointing the finger, like I think he's the worst, like have I said too many challenging things lately? Or so I really think about those a lot longer than I do encouragement. It's like,
you temper your tongue.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some good sayings today. Temper your tongue. What'd you say? Walk back
your thoughts.
Walk back your thoughts.
Grit to grow.
Grit to grow. Wow. These are bangers. This is like sermon material here. This is great.
Oh my gosh.
Grit to grow.
You'll find them in Justin's next sermon.
Yeah. And as long as I mention that you mentioned them, that also means a lot to you. If I say ideas that you say and I don't say that you said them, that also is a big value for you.
Yeah, it's more about the respect of the thought. I guess I think I realize it's about the respect of like that's someone else's thought.
Right.
I have a lot of ideas. I understand I'm always talking. I'm always sharing things. And sometimes it feels like as we're talking, that was, our conversation, your ideas. But there's been times, in the over, even in a creative meeting or something, I was like, that
was my idea. I said
that. I've learned to surrender that though too. Like now I'm like,
I also want to go on a record.
I don't need the credit.
For those of you that are centralites, a place for you was actually Mel's idea in a creative meeting.
Yeah.
We never talked about that.
It's true. And we don't need to, but
that was you.
I don't need that. Yeah. But between the
two
of us.
Be put on the record.
Well, actually, sure. But it's more about, again, I don't need everyone else to know that I thought about this or that. Mm-hmm. What matters the most is that
that I saw that in you.
You saw that.
That you are a good leader and a creative and you thought of something really special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't
it's about being seen.
It's not about needing the credit. It's about you seeing.
Interesting.
That and being like, wow, she,
so that's actually
can contribute in this way.
So that's actually
I'm not just a bystander.
Yeah, the deeper thing is that I'm seeing you as the true creative, beautiful mind contributor that you are.
We all want to have purpose. We want to contribute to the world.
I actually thought about that.
And so if you're taking my ideas as your own, then it doesn't leave space for me to have have contributed to that art or to that thought or
somebody's watching today who is just in an unhealthy spot and is maybe listening to this because it's like they're on their last leg or they're not very hopeful about marriage. It hasn't really gone great for them or they haven't had it modeled to them really well. Like, what would you want someone, like if that person was here, what would you speak to their deepest part of their soul? What would you want them to know?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a friend who's going through that and she's doing really well with the Lord and but her husband is not, so it's really hard on her. And I just support her. I want her to know that it's okay that she's grieving the loss of that spiritual connection with her husband. So I guess I would want them to know it's okay that you feel that way. It's okay that you're feeling a loss, like you're grieving. Yeah. You're grieving maybe the dream of what it could be. Or what it was supposed to be, or that's, the expectation of that. So, but I have to say it because I think that's how I see the world, but maybe there's another way. Maybe your dream can change. Maybe because that was the one way you saw it, that it couldn't be better later or, in another way. So I guess never give up hope and continue working on yourself. Be that loving, that surrendered, that caring person. Even if it hurts you. And and I mean that almost in the way that it hurts you because you're not receiving equally. Not hurts you as in physical abuse or not abuse.
Yes. It's just an inequity.
Yeah. when it's not balanced, you keep giving.
Right.
And that, I think you can be really proud of yourself or like okay with yourself when you continue to live that life instead of withholding then because they're withholding.
Yeah.
Then you start losing part of yourself. But if you can continue on, that's hard though.
Yeah.
But
that's good.
It's good. You will be better for it in the long run.
I fully agree with that. Well, I just want to say I love you so much.
I love you too.
And I'm excited about us because I feel like you've made me become a person that I didn't know that I could be. And I had a lot of darkness in my heart when we began and struggled through some ideas about myself that you stood there with me and you brought out the best in me. And I think that's probably my favorite part about you and me, that you fought to continue to draw that out in me. And I love you a lot for it.
And you've helped me, the same both ways. Like you've pushed me to do things that I never thought I could do, like to believe in myself. We're much better together for sure.
Yeah. Thanks for being on this show. Thanks for helping people see.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And I think people are going to be encouraged. So thanks. Hey, thanks so much for watching. And if you like this video and want to see more like it, just hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, or you can follow me on Instagram at @JDriedger. And if you have a question, or if there's someone you would like to be featured on the show, shoot me an email at hello@helpmesee.ca. And together, let's keep challenging limiting belief systems, choosing to see possibility, and pushing past the familiar. This is the Help Me See Show.
I should bring my water bottle.
Yeah, please.
Sure. Why not? I got lots of questions for you. And the internet also has many questions.
Are we starting like right now?